Pompano was a church town at that time. Every family went to church. On Thursday night, Wednesday night, there were prayer meetings. Went to choir rehearsal. Everything that the church had, we were involved in it. And we were involved in that more or less because we didn't have Head Start, primary for children. So the church was really the training ground for the children. And so that's where we got our early Christian training, and much of our training before we went to school, because we were not allowed, well, the age for attending school was 6 years old. So at 6 years old, then my aunt enrolled me in the Pompano Colored School. Our fathers planted the crops, and the children and the wives gathered the crops. So our school would close. We'd open school, if I recall, around about September. The month was September. And we would go to school until about December. And I remember Miss Ely, who was the principal, petitioned the school board to open school during the summer months. So then we went to school during the summer, July, when the other children were out of school. We were in school, very hot, because we didn't have any air conditioning. And as the school grew, we were overcrowded. But we went to school every Saturday until about 1 o'clock. I recall 1 o'clock. Now somebody else might recall another time, but I recall we went every Saturday until 1 o'clock. And so we did that to make up the time that we were in the bean fields. And that happened yearly. That happened. So by the time you got into your work, but we were always into the work because we knew that school was going to close. So we didn't waste any time. When I say we, I'm talking about our teachers. We had dedicated teachers, and we knew school would be out, and we would, and most of the children, high expectation. You had to learn. You didn't play around because you knew you were going to the field. So when we went to, then we came back and we went to work again doing our school work. People just, they opened businesses other than going to the bean fields. Miss Florrie Major, Ally, always had some type of business going on, and she would open her home to people coming in from the north and whatnot. Mary Mackey, Brendan Mackey's mother, she had a little pop and mom's grocery store. Bessie Irvin and her husband, Mr. Irvin, had a little store right on the corner of 8th Street, I believe. Maybe it's still there with the children and whatnot. There were people who have always ventured out to make a change. But it was hard to make a change. One individual couldn't make a change. People had to change the mind. So we were taught that education was the key to our success. Because you can't, if everybody got the guns or whatever it is, and they are in control of the places that lock you up, what can you do? So you got to get into the mainstream to help change the policies and the laws that are binding you. And so education was the key to our success, and that's what we were told. And so when we went to school, we could not play around, because we were saying whatever you taught, that whatever you put in your head, nobody can take it away. That's yours, and those are your thoughts. You cannot imprison thoughts. And so if you can think for yourself, the only way person can, if you don't have any education, but many people didn't have it. So they were, and that didn't mean they were dumb, because they were the smartest people. They were smarter than many of the people are today, because the things that they had encountered and had come around, they were wise. We had to go to work. So if you didn't go to work, you would be put in jail. See, but nobody said it was a law. But when the guys would go on the streets and didn't go to work, they were subject to being arrested. And so that would happen, but they didn't know the policy. But they knew that certain times you're supposed to be in the fields. You're not supposed to wander in the streets. We had come out of a place where blacks weren't supposed to read. And if they read, they could be punished through death. So many times they would not allow their children to go to school because that was the history. That was the history of it.